Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree. He sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Yeah, g'day guys, it's Shaney with the Backyard Bushman channel. I'm actually, I'm in my front yard today because it's a nice enough day that I have to waste it by getting out and mowing the lawn. But before I do that, I actually wanted to go over a couple more wild edibles. Been meaning to do this for a minute, but you know, the weather here in Washington isn't exactly the best. So at any rate, if you bear with me, don't have a cameraman. I suppose I should pay someone, but that's not about to happen anyways. I'm going to show you what I got right here. Give me a second. Alright, let's see here. Right there. First of all, let me show you the rest of the yard. Here we go, guys. Now, if you see that, and you see all over here, so these flowers, they're all over the place. You know, they're pretty much weeds. Not that I'm big on you know, the whole weed thing. It's just a plant trying to survive. But at any rate, enough with the philosophy lesson. They look like dandelions, but those aren't. But I tell you what, this down here is. Alright, so give me a second here, guys. I'm trying to hold the camera and do my thing here. I was messing with this earlier, so I broke off the flower, unfortunately. And she hadn't bloomed anyway, so there you go. But as you can see here, alright, on the flower, it's just a one singular stem. Okay, and this is the first way to identify whether this kind of plant is a dandelion or not. Dandelions don't grow in groupings like those flowers there. You'll see that they sprout up and they have all these branching stems and they have multiple flowers. That's not a dandelion. Dandelion is most certainly just, here we go, is the one flower on the one stem. Another way to tell if it's dandelion is when you break that flower off, okay, you'll notice that it's hollow, and I don't know if you're going to pick, there we go. You can see it's a hollow stem, and you'll actually get this white milky sap just around the inside there. It's another way to tell you that it's a dandelion, but from the flower all the way down to the plant itself, you won't have any branches. You'll just have the single stem and the flower itself. Now, the next way to tell whether dandelion is in fact dandelion is by the leaves. Okay, I'll pick one of these off here. Now, that's a dandelion leaf. If you look at this plant here, you'll see there's a slight difference in, you know, the shape and whatnot. And I'll tell you the couple of key ways to tell if it's dandelion. First of all, dandelion leaf is not hairy. Okay, there's no little white hairs on it. It's just a perfectly clean looking leaf, and this is why, you know, they can end up in your salad, because nobody wants to eat a furry leaf. But the other way to tell if it's a dandelion, it's kind of it's best to tell, you know, call it like an arrowhead shape. You'll see that the leaves here come down like an arrowhead, and it's a repeated pattern the whole way down. Now, these can get pretty big, and generally I find that the end of the leaf here is broader than the base of the leaf. They narrow down, so it's kind of like a, I don't know, a back to front Christmas tree, you know, instead of the base being thicker. And that's pretty much the simplest way to tell if she's dandelion. It's not furry. It's got the arrowhead leaves, alright, and it's got the single flower, okay, with the stem, which is hollow, has a milky sap in it. I wish the flower was blooming on this one, but that at least shows you what it's like when it's not. This is the only dandelion I could find in my yard, believe it or not, and I've got all this other stuff, which is likely hawk's rush and whatnot. But dandelion is not only an edible, but it has a lot of medicinal uses, you know. What I'm going to do, guys, rather than, you know, try to tell you all the medicinal uses and miss a whole bunch of stuff, is at the end of the video, I'll just basically have some, you know, some text put up telling you exactly what the most common uses are for dandelions. But you can eat them straight up. You can use pretty much the whole plant. You know, you chew on the roots and whatnot, but you can make a tea, you can add it to salads. I don't think there's really a huge difference in the different parts of the plants with the dandelion medicinally. But, you know, you could make concoctions and teas. I'm not sure if, you know, you'd go the route of making a poultice, so to speak. But again, like I said, as far as medicinal uses go, I'll put them at the end of the video. But you can pick them straight up and you can eat them. But they are pretty bitter in my experience. They're not the you know, the best tasting thing. But once again, if you're out in the woods and you want to just forage as you go along, which is not a bad idea, and you know what you're doing, dandelion's pretty much everywhere. And some of its medicinal uses are actually very good, and you can find it in your front yard or just about anywhere, you know, roadsides and whatnot, and it's pretty much spread across the entire world. You know, you will get this in Australia as well as North America and Asia and whatnot, but it is a very, very common plant. It's commonly found found internationally, and again, she's a good wild edible. Very easy to find, very easy to identify, and a bunch of medicinal uses, which I'll post. Alright guys, well, this has been Shane with the Backyard Bushman channel. Stay tuned, I'm going to do another video right quick before I get to mowing this lawn, and, you know, likely having a sunstroke. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you soon.
You'll come a waltzing, Matilda.